I was born in 1929, so from about 10 years on I had a small part to play in them anyway. Cut turf myself in the early days, you know. Cut them with a spade. There was a special spade for cutting turf. And it took three people generally, one to cook and the other to lift them up and put them on the turf bar or whatever, and the other to wheel them out. You kept two bars, and when you were filling one they were away out with the other one, so it worked okay, you know, but it was slow. Turf are not as important now as they were early on. And early on there was no oil or electricity or gas or anything like that, and you depended solely on turf to heat the house and do the cooking and all that type of thing. Now everybody has oil and gas and electricity, and they're really only interested in that living room fire type of thing, so it's a luxury rather than a necessity, and I think that's changed.
More Leah's granddad, my dad, he's 87, so he still does the turf. He's been doing them from Leah's age, so he's doing them 80 years now. Time has changed. Whenever I would have been Leah's age, I would very much have hated the turf. I was forced by her granddad, my dad, to go to the turf every year, and it was hard work. You know, the family all helped out. I have 3 brothers and a sister. My sister didn't do much, but me and my brothers would have helped granddad every year. So I suppose from 7 or 8 up till 18, I had no love for the turf. But then I think as I got a little bit older, I began to appreciate the effort and the work that's involved in winning the turf. I suppose that's what's called winning turf. So once you turn them, really you need to try to get them rickled as soon as possible, get them up into the little stacks. That's called rickling. So once you get them up into the stacks, then you've got them out of the ground, so they're not touching the ground anymore. And then it's just the fresh, dry breeze running through them that dries them.
Well, before I went, I had no idea what you meant by turning it.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
And you'll know better this year when you go back.
Yeah.
You looking forward to that?
Probably not.
I say my father done it, I've done it, his father done it, so my granddad would have done it as well, and I'm sure his father would have done it before him. So at the end of the day, the way the turf has been won has changed. So the moss as it is now will have been like that for 10,000 years and more. So it's a very peaceful place. I manage a company, and it's stressful, and I have 3 young kids, which is also stressful. So many evenings and Saturday mornings, Sunday afternoons even, I enjoy the quiet of the moss. So it is work, of course, it's hard work too, but it's a peace and quiet for someone like me to get away for a few hours where you're only hearing birds chirping and the wind and the heather, and I think to be probably that's a good part of the reason why I do it. Leah's doing a little bit of it now. She needs some motivation now in the form of cash, but we'll get her started that way, and then later she'll learn.
Do you like working on turf when you're there?
Sometimes, because the first time I was like bored to death. The last time I did it in 2015, it wasn't actually that boring. Sometimes it can be fun.
If you were with your granddad and working there for 80 years, what would you think about that?
Well, once I was like halfway through 80 years, I think I'd be like pretty bored doing it for that much years.
These environmentalists don't like this cutting away the bog, you know, because of the plants that grow on it and all that type of thing.
They're trying to protect the mosses as areas of scientific interest and areas of outstanding natural beauty for all the little wildlife and birds that use the moss as their home. Cutting turf in it on an industrial scale isn't probably great.
It doesn't really affect farmers cutting for their own domestic use.
The moss is a huge place, and you're only using a very small part of it to cut the turf.
Mechanical work now, as far as the actual cutting of them is concerned.
Behind the tractor there's a what's called a bin. It's a turf machine. So the guy gets off the tractor and he'll fill up the machine with the digger by digging moss out of the ground, fill up the machine, and then the machine compresses the moss into a row of turf. So after he's finished, you don't touch them at all for probably 4 to 5 to 6 weeks depending on the weather. But once they've skin dried on the top from the sun, it'll only be the sun that'll be working on them at this point because they're stuck in the ground. But once the skin forms them and it's good and hard, then you turn the turf over. So you lift them up and you break them. They're in one big long length, they're about 50 metres long. So you break them into manageable sizes, and then you turn it over and set it on the high ground if you can. And then you'll leave it like that for another few weeks until the sun bakes them a little bit more. And at this point now they're sort of out of the ground, so the wind's also helping to dry them. The breeze is coming through them and helping to suck the water out of it, if you like. And then once they're strong enough or rigid enough, then you build them up into the rickles. And now there's only one little point of them touching the ground, the rest of it's pointing straight up. So now the wind's getting in through them, and that's drying the turf fast. So a few weeks ideally after you put them up or rickle them, they're ready for coming home.
I remember last year I had about like 4, 5 or 6 like one of them really long.
Big long turf?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 5 or 6 of them, and you had to break them for me.
You have to break them up so as you can put them into the bags. I don't think people that have never done it would ever understand, but it's just something that we've always done. And I think if I ever moved away from Kildress or home, to the States, Leah's mummy's from America, from Boston, so she doesn't know much about turf. She does like the heat. But if we ever moved away, I think I would miss the turf. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that I would have FedEx take a couple of bags over every year so as I could light them on Christmas Day.
It was positive enough as far as I was concerned. I didn't mind working them. You needed to have them, and that was about the height of it.
I can't say that I thoroughly enjoy the turf, but I do enjoy sitting in front of a nice fire in the winter time, knowing that my blood and sweat, if you like, is heating the radiators and heating the house and generating the nice smell of turf in the house. As we've got older and got our own families, we don't meet up so often, but every Saturday morning, weather permitting, if it's a nice day, we'll always meet in the moss, and we'll have a bit of a chat and a bit of a talk about life and how things are going, and we'll give each other a hand, we'll help out as well. So it's a good experience, it's a good family experience. I think it's good for Leah. She might never stay at the turf, but it's good to learn her or teach her how to work and the value of work. And sometimes you have to work hard to earn money or to get on in life. Mm-hmm. So it's not just really about the turf, it's tradition and education. It's good to know that I'm keeping on my father's work and his father's before him, and I think my brothers would feel the same.